Hey, it's Stage Door, Toledo's finest theater podcast. Today's special guest, you know him, you love him, you recognize him at Speedway when you're getting coffee, but you just can't place where you've seen him. Toledo's favorite miser, Paul Causman.
So the Toledo Rep is your the premier place to go, obviously, in the area. Everybody talks about it. It always wins continuously, hands down in the city paper, best local theater and all that. Why?
Yeah.
Why don't you guys are like bullies. You just beat up all the other theater groups in town.
I hope not.
You let anybody else win that award one time?
No.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm really proud of the work that the Rep has done over the years. It's a great place to work, and the idea is, or I hope, is that to provide a space for artists to work and to experiment and to learn and to nurture them and nurture one another and whatnot. So it's that kind of environment where, we're looking to have fun. Of course, community theater, they says it's always, this should be fun. Well, right. But for me, fun means that we're putting on a really good performance.
That's right.
Yes.
That's what fun is.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can have fun playing football, but you got to play to win, right?
Right, absolutely.
And that's what makes it fun. And the same thing, that's what makes it fun to watch. And so, if you can kind of maintain that kind of atmosphere that you're going to work hard, but you're going to be in a lot of rehearsals and you got to memorize all those lines. You got to do all this. But when you get up there, the audience reaction is going to make it all worth it. You're going to feel good about what you're doing and what everybody else is doing and like a team. And so that's why I think the Rep is doing well. That's why I hope it's doing well.
That's a great attitude. I mean, Ron and I, again, the theme of this is that we're just two normal dudes who got into this because of our kids, and that's kind of like the same deal with our children. Our children work hard to have fun, and their idea of fun is kicking ass in these shows, honestly. Yeah. It's like, let's do these shows, and yes, they're there to have fun, but they're also there to be respectful of the directors, work hard, show up knowing your lines, knowing your choreography, because that is important, and that is fun.
And it's a great thing for young people, too. It's for kids, young people, whatever. It's a great thing because, it teaches them a lot about self-confidence. I used to do residencies, arts residencies, sometimes in schools. And I would go into grade schools, middle schools, high schools. And inevitably, I'm not kidding you, every single time, there would always be these couple of students where the teachers would go, "You're never going to get anywhere with these two. Forget it. They are lost causes. They won't." And inevitably, they blossom like crazy. And the teacher's always like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." Well, it's good because it creates a confidence for them. And they learn things about themselves, about how to express themselves. All of a sudden, the other kids are thinking, wow, they're really good. And so it improves their, sense of self-esteem and whatnot. So it ends up being a really good thing for young people, I think.
And the theater does that. The Rep does that. Community theater does that. Yes.
Right.
Okay, tell us about, have you seen the redone theater? They renovated the Rep theater.
Okay, well, a lot of renovation has been going on during the pandemic.
Okay.
And so we did manage to keep a season going, but I had to kind of with some help of some good friends and some very talented people like Jeff Albright, and I don't want to get into a bunch of names because I'll leave all these wonderful people
like
out.
names. We like names. We love name dropping.
Give people credit where it's due.
But we had to, reposition everything. We had to move the season to the next season, and we had to come up with things that we could do within the parameters of pandemic safety.
Right.
How do you do a show with social distancing, with masks, with, yada, yada, all those things. And so, this year we managed to keep up a lot in the theater, keep a lot of things going, but it was also a great time for us to be able to work on the venue itself, work on the facility. And so things like, which might get kind of left behind or you're not thinking about because you're in the middle of production, like we repaved the parking lot, built a new wall on the Brown building. We pointed 2 walls. We got a whole new roof, working on the HVAC system, new sound system, doing all kinds of things, And the big news is that it looks like we've got some plans, keep your fingers crossed because it's something I really want to see happening, and that's an elevator in there that can be used for physically disabled. I mean, it's been unfortunate. It's very difficult for us to do that, but hopefully this will make that happen. So, so in a way, the pandemic it wasn't a good thing at all. No, not at all. But we were able to take that time and do some of the things that we hadn't been able to do for a while.
Cool.
So,
Yeah, all the housekeeping that needed to be done forever, obviously.
and you know what? Exactly. And you know what was so amazing too was that organizations and individuals and foundations, all of these people, groups, whatever, were so generous during this period. The state of Ohio, the city, everybody was so generous during this period that we were able to actually get some money in terms of donations and for some of these capital improvements or capital repairs, as it were, which was great, which was a wonderful thing. I got to hand it to Toledo. I mean, Toledo just really stepped up and did things for organizations venues like the Toledo Rep, which were really impacted by pandemic. You can't have a bunch of people sitting in a theater, watching live theater. I mean, it's difficult. You can't do it, but under very limited situations. So, I mean, they really, Toledo really stepped up.
That's a testament to who you are, though. You're the damn rep. That's who you are. You're the Toledo rep. And the city of Toledo looks at that and says, this is a valuable asset to our city.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that they are taken care of. We need to do this because we need them here. They are providing a product that is quality for our whole community. Mm-hmm. So they obviously saw that, and they obviously stepped up and they did what needed to be done to make sure that you guys, didn't suffer as much as possible.
Well, I came to Toledo in '86, and I'll tell you what, it's an amazing city. It really is. And I think that I've been here long enough to call myself a Toledoan. I don't know, maybe not.
Well, I was here in '91, and I call myself a Toledoan.
All right, so we're Toledoans, and I can say that we got a great city. We have I don't think a lot of Toledoans realize how incredible this place is. And it's the reason why I came in '86 and why I wanted to stay here, because the Rep is good. This is their 90th season that we're working. This is the 89th coming up that we're starting in the fall. And then the next one is their 90th season. This community has supported theater and the arts. I mean, the arts are an incredibly important part of this town.
I mean, some people in Toledo started a podcast about it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's how
See
much
what
we
I
love
mean?
it.
See what I mean?
There's an entire school of the arts in this city.
I've been talking so much, I got to take a break.
No, absolutely. Have it. That's why it's there. We don't want you to
90 years bullying everyone else, blowing everyone else out of the water, always winning. Great
yeah,
stuff.
but obviously
great
the shows, though, too. I mean, you don't put on these little rinky-dink shows. You guys are able to pull in and have some great productions. Like one of my favorites that I saw recently was Fun Home. It was such a good show. Oh, yeah. I'm like, when I saw that was coming to Toledo and was going to be performed, I was like, well, let me know when the tickets go on sale. Yeah. I'm buying tickets right away. Yeah. And I'm so glad. Amber was amazing in that role. Yeah. And Lily Buck is a family friend. And she was perfect for the young. I was like, okay,
and Heath was in that too, right?
Yeah, he was amazing. Amazing. I hated him. He was a terrible person.
I know. Yeah.
But that's what he needed to do. That's what he needed to do. And I was like, oh, and it was so refreshing to see him in a different kind of character because he plays Cratchit all the time.
Right, he plays good guys really well.
Yeah, because he's a good guy. Imagine
he's a good guy. Yeah.
So he plays a good guy because he is a good guy. So it's nice to see him kind of be like a twisted guy a little bit. It was good. It was so good to see. And that's what I mean, though. So you guys bring shows that are different.
Yeah.
I mean, like really different.
Right.
because you have maybe 3 or 4 shows that are, what's that show?
Right.
And then a big one.
Right. Well, part of the mission of the Rep is to educate. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of good plays. I mean, there's a lot of wonderful standards out there, too. I mean, I personally can't get enough of some plays that are done. You know, like, for instance, we're doing, coming up this year, we're doing Our Town, and that's certainly considered a standard. But we're doing it in Rep with Middletown, which is not. It's a very new play and whatnot. So it's kind of, you know, looking at America from 1901 at the beginning of the 20th century, and then Middletown kind of has a different view.
Wait, explain that again. What's going on? Because I know Our Town, and I really enjoy that show.
Right.
So you're doing a combination? Wait,
right.
What's going on?
Right. So actually, this is the first time that the Toledo Rep has actually ever done 2 shows actually in repertory, which means that
Thank you.
We're doing one on Thursday, then the other on Friday, then the next one on Saturday, the next one on Sunday, and then we alternate again on the next weekend so that you have chances to see both of the plays. And the reason why we're doing them together is because they have thematic similarities, which means basically Our Town's 1901, beginning of the 20th century.
Is that when it was? 1901? It didn't feel like that when I watched it.
Well, isn't it amazing? You know, and I talk about, you know, a standard. You know, certainly it's considered, you know, one of, if not the greatest play of American stage.
I thought it was like in the 40s. I honestly did. I thought it took place in the 40s.
No, 1901.
I haven't seen it in a while, so my memory's going.
May 7th, 1901 is when it starts. But anyway, but yeah, and every time though, I get into, well, see, I've actually done it 3 times. So, and every time I think, oh boy, here's, you know, and I get into it and it's like, my God, this is amazing. This script is incredible. This story is so powerful. And there's a good reason why it's considered one of the best American plays.
Well, that's another question we were going to ask you, is because you're obviously a superstar in the area for being, for being the horrible Ebeneezer Scrooge all day. So I just thought, well, I mean, how many other times you get a chance? You typecast, you only get to be Ebeneezer.
I do like bad guys. I do. They're fun to play, you know. And Scrooge
and
is
scaring little children under the desk.
Well,
I know. I
that's
see
great
you doing
fun too. Yeah, you know. But it's a funny story about that. Were you there? Was that year?
Probably. I was probably there when you scared.
Oh boy, I learned. No, it was the first year that I had done it, and I've done it for a number of years. But I did, you know, you come out from under the desk. A little girl or boy or whomever will hide under the desk, Scrooge's desk, and I come around and say, you, come here, you, and everything. And Scrooge, of course, is really, really mean and whatnot. And so the little girl just starts crying. And I went, oh, my goodness, no.
That kind of happened when we were doing it. I think you scared a little girl, and she had that face of, like, she didn't cry, but she had the face of, like,
oh my gosh,
this guy's really going to hurt me.
So now
when you recovered, we're like, I'm sorry, no,
right. So now I'm always really careful. I was going, okay, here's the mean part, and this is just pretend. So we're just going to pretend, and I'll do it really nice and say, okay, now I'm going to pick you up. Is that okay? And so that we kind of work into it. But
you must have forgotten the one year I was there.
Probably,
or maybe like, screw this kid. I don't like this.
Yeah. maybe I was just feeling like scaring children. I don't know, but you know, it was. But yeah, you know, bad guys. You know, they're fun to play.
Yeah. Do you have to go into hiding in the Christmas season though? I mean, honestly, do people just spot you out
like
on the street?
You're in Speedway getting coffee and people come up to you. I bet.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because it's.
I mean, your face is on all posters.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So I was with somebody who asked me that question right as we were going into Kroger, and I said, "Oh, you know, sometimes," and 3 times through the store, the produce section, the dairy, the frozen, you know, and so it was like. Yeah, I guess it does happen. But, you know, that's cool. That's great.
Somebody bring you a really large turkey in the Kroger's? Like,
at least nobody hits me. You know? That's cool. So, but I'm really flattered, of course,
Oh, good.
because, I mean, it means that a lot of people are seeing it, and it has a meaning for them. That's, that they're enjoying it. So it's incredibly flattering.
So you don't hate it. You
No,
embrace
of
it. You're
course
proud
not.
of it.
Of course.
Good,
yeah,
good,
it's-
good.
Yeah, it's lovely that people are experiencing
Well, I
it.
mean, the legacy of Toledo
Yeah.
Rep producing every season the Christmas Carol is just huge in this area.
Yeah, what does it mean to Toledo, this show?
Right. Well, I think of it, or the rep kind of thinks of it as its gift to the Toledo audience, its Christmas gift to the Toledo audience, and so I hope that it's received in that manner as well, and but also for the people who are in it. There are a lot of people who are in it and who have been in it for years. I mean, there are people that I started at the Rep in 1986 directing this particular production. Okay, so it was when I was started there when we started this as it is now, and so I mean, there are people who were in the chorus or who were playing roles or whatever then, who had children in the show, whose children grew up, and whose children are now in the show with their children. So, I mean, I think Christmas Carol means a lot to a lot of different people for a lot of different things.
It was the kickoff for my family every year that it's Christmas time. It's Christmas time.
That's the most
And
beautiful
we're doing-
thing I've ever heard. That's
we-
wonderful.
And
That's
we
exactly.
love the holly, and it's like the holly and the ivy. It's like we don't ever hear that enough. It's like, can we download that song and just put it in our playlist? Because we don't hear. And my family did it for, I want to say, like 5-6 years. I don't even know how many years exactly they did it, but they started when they were tiny. My kids, and they grew up a little bit more, and then even my wife portrayed one of the ghosts. Inside because she got recruited. She was there. That's
go.
what happens when you have kids and you're
That's right.
there.
That's
the
right.
rep says, "Hey, why don't you grab a cloak and put it on and just crawl around on the floor?"
Nobody's safe.
She was just there, and it came from like, "Hey, we need somebody to dump the dry ice smoke," and then I'll dump the dry ice smoke. Then it was. Actually, what we really need is for you to put this all over top of you and dance around and she did it. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm the only one who's not been in the show.
Well, we can fix that this
Yeah, I know.
year.
Right. Well, I know as an older guy, we are the most attractive people in the show.
Yeah.
Everybody's. Yeah, I feel like such a pretty princess when I show up for any of the auditions with somebody. Like, you're gonna audition, right? I'm like, I wasn't planning on it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you should. You are so handsome.
If you're an old guy who can sing,
Oh, hey, yeah.
You're good.
Men are at a premium.
Yes.
Of course. Absolutely.
so I feel proud of the Toledo production of it as a Toledoan. I'm going, wow.
And they don't just do the show. They do the parade. So they're all dressed up in character, and you go out into the parade. And then there were years that you did the caroling. You'd go around and do the caroling. It's like you said, this is a gift to the community. And I hope that the community appreciates it, and I think they do.
I think so. They've always really rallied behind it. We've always had good audiences and good casts. And, I've always said that it's, A Christmas Carol, while it's good theater, and people will come up and say, wow, that was really moving, or the meaning of the play really came through, or whatever. But it's more than just theater. It's also a community event. And that's a really great thing. I did Mother Ginger for 12 years in Toledo Ballet's Nutcracker. And then started right after that with Scrooge. And so, but there are many similarities. There's a lot of cases where, kids get involved in, the young ballet classes or the young rep or whatnot, and they move up into that. They get into Nutcracker, they get into Christmas Carol, they begin to get some experience and some training and whatnot. But they're very much community events. The Toledo area really turns out for those events.
Well, see, now you just mentioned that too you mentioned earlier about children learning and that kind of stuff. You guys offer your young rep program.
Right. There's a young rep program, the educational rep ed, and they have classes and they do productions and whatnot. And they're, really give kids an opportunity, all different ages, real young kids as well as, the teen and high school age and whatnot too.
So you'll go to the All Shook Up show then? That's
Of course.
Yeah. And did you hear Emma? Because if you haven't heard Emma, she was interviewed on here already once, and she was delightful.
Yeah.
So delightful. So perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
I could see why. Well, she was funny because I posted it on Facebook, and she replied. She says, "Oh, we should get on this show." So I messaged her and I said, "You should get on this show."
Yes.
And then everybody rallied and said, "Yes, Emma." Yeah. And I said, "Well, I think it's decided. You have to be on the show."
You have to be on the show.
And she was perfect.
Yeah.
So while you take another sip, going to ask, doing Scrooge for 25 years?
No, actually, this would be my 19th
19th year.
If you include the DVD that we did during the pandemic.
How do you...
Because you would have done it.
Right.
How do you...
Thank you.
How do you prepare, like around September, you start looking at the notes? How do you get up for it so that it's not the same old, same old?
Yeah, well, oh boy, that's such a good question. It's, first of all,
Ron, fist in the air. Yes,
I finally asked a good question.
first of all, I'll start very early on. Like we've already started with our initial artistic staff meeting. And so, and that will continue on. So, and then because we're, we'll make some changes to the script and whatnot during this time period. So I'm already really looking at it. But I'll tell you really quite honestly, and it's what you said, it starts me into the season. It's what does it. And then as far as making it new, because, you've got all these people that are coming back, so it feels like family. You've got new people who you haven't met, new kids, and so there's all sorts of fun there. But what really keeps it new for me from year to year is that language. I mean, Dickens. I mean, it doesn't matter how many times I say those lines. They're so meaningful. There's so many levels in them. They're so rich that, I can't help but, it's like, look, I get goosebumps. Just thinking, I can't help but being excited about,
Boiled in his pudding and stark steak.
Yeah, it's great stuff. It really is. And so it's easy to get excited about it. It's easy for it to feel new.
Well, what's exciting coming up now for the rep then?
What's exciting?
Yeah. I mean, you just redid all the theater, or it's finishing up. Last time I went in was to interview Emma. Actually, we went to her location so that she didn't have to, because she had rehearsal. She had rehearsal like 5 minutes after the interview was over.
Right.
Not an interview. This is a conversation. I should clarify that.
Right.
So they were hammering and doing things upstairs, and it looked like it was really close to being done, though.
Right. Okay. Well, All Shook Up is at the Ottawa Park, but that's this weekend. So
yeah, we'll be there.
But for the starting of the season, that's Something Rotten, which is really fun. It's kind of a couple of actors who put on a show, a musical during the Shakespearean age, and it's a spoof on it. It's hilarious. It's just wonderful. It really is. It's a lot of fun. Then the next one, which comes around Halloween, is it's a Sherlock Holmes, and it's actually the second one in a trilogy that were premiered up at Jeff Daniels' place in Chelsea, Michigan, Purple Rose. And so that one is the second one. And then we go into Christmas Carol. And then we have the fall. Then we have the winter and spring and summer.
Are those secret yet? We can't.
No. Oh gosh.
Didn't bring your notes with you, huh?
Yeah, you know what? I'd have to cheat to
No,
well,
it's okay.
our
Cheat.
town in Middletown, of course.
Okay.
Which you said there, and then starting in February 18th is The Legend of Georgia McBride, and it's a very funny comedy about.
Is that about it's time travel?
Yeah, it's George McFly.
It is about time travel. Please tell me it's time travel.
George
and
McFly.
There's a guy named Biff in the show.
Yeah.
Please tell me.
Back to the Future.
Actually, no,
that's in the
but it's-
future.
I know.
That feels
Wouldn't
like
that
a
be
miss.
great? Wouldn't that
That's
be
a
great?
miss.
That's what it should be about.
Back to
All right, we can rewrite it.
Back to the Future, the musical.
Ooh.
It's an idea.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody already wrote a bunch of songs for it, so it's hip to be square and stuff. It'd be easy
Yeah.
to put in.
So there's this young fellow. He is a Elvis Presley impersonator, and he gets fired. And this drag queen is hired in his place, and he has to kind of review what he's doing as a performer, and it's hysterical. It's just
This is a play, not a musical.
This is a play.
Okay.
And then there's Our Town and Middletown, which I talked to you about before. The Our Town, the Oscar Wilde play, and then Middletown, which is the 20th century perspective. Remember, Our Town, 1901, and then the Middletown, then, which is 21st century. But those were in rep. And then In the Heights, which is the musical.
Oh, you're bringing that back.
Yeah, yeah. In the
Oh my
Heights is the
gosh.
musical. Yeah.
That one's been delayed for at least a year then, right?
Yes, it was. It was really tough, and the cast that they had for it was wonderful.
Yes, I know a couple people in there.
Oh yeah, just great. And so hopefully a lot of them will be coming back. Will be able to come back to do it because they worked hard to get ready for it, and of course we couldn't do it. But
I know one young lady who's a dancer, and she specifically went out for that show because of dancing.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. And it was like, oh no! Because she doesn't do a lot of theater stuff because she's a big time dancer, not a theater performer. So this was kind of a nice stretch for her to do it. And so she went out on a limb only to have the show canceled because of a freaking virus.
a pandemic. Once every 100 years, kind of.
And there'll probably be a musical about the pandemic. The
Oh,
musical.
they definitely will. If
Pandemic,
they have a
the musical.
about the planes crashing into the
Oh, yeah.
towers. They're going to have a musical about it.
Oh, you know what? Boy, wouldn't that be great to relive the pandemic?
Yeah. Make
Well,
it
it'll
a,
have to be 100 years from now. Otherwise, they have a Titanic musical for goodness
Right,
sake.
there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, at what point does it become okay to talk about
Right,
people
100
dying,
years
right?
later.
100 years later.
And too soon? Is it too soon to talk about an iceberg hitting? I don't know. It's maybe too soon. No, it's not okay. We'll make a musical about it. It was singing. Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness.
Right. Right.
So, is there like a show or a role? We're going to go on you now. We're not even talking about the rep. We should talk about the rep, right?
Yeah.
We've been all about Paul this whole time.
Let's talk about Paul.
Oh,
Paul-
I'm going to ask you real quick, so we don't go too much on a tangent here. But is there like a role you want to do?
That I want to do?
Yeah, Ron
Your
usually asks
bucket
this
list
question, so I'm
role.
stealing it
Bucket
from him.
list role, yeah.
Oh, well,
Like, do you want to play Thanos in, Avengers or something?
yeah, probably the role that I would really like to do, which I'll never get a chance because I doubt anybody will do it, would be Prospero in The Tempest by Shakespeare. That is a really great role, and it's said, or it's believed, that it was kind of Shakespeare's swan song, the role of Prospero. He's this
Tempest
wizard.
is right up the rep's alley, though. Why
Oh,
wouldn't
it's
they
a
do it?
great play. I
Why
want
would they
somebody to
not
do it.
It makes no sense. That
He's
is
hinting.
exactly
He's hinting
why
to
the
the-
Toledo rep should do it.
I agree with
Who
you.
else is going to
He's
do it?
hinting
if
to
not
the
rep?
board. He's
Right,
hinting to the
right,
rep
right,
board.
Right. But yeah, that's one that I've is in the bucket list. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't have a whole lot. I've been really fortunate. I've gotten to do a lot of plays in my life, and roles that I've always wanted to do. Like I got to do George in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. That was about 10 or 15 years ago. I did that at the Rep, and the stage manager in Our Town. The role of the stage manager is an actor. It's a narrator, and I've done that twice. One time at the Rep. So, and I've gotten
I'm
really.
going to start drinking your martini if you don't.
Oh,
do it. okay. I'm
I've-
just telling you.
all right.
But look at mine. I
I
have
know.
nothing but my olive
I know, but
black
that's because
Harvard.
I'm talking so much.
Yeah.
I know, and I appreciate that, but I'm over here like sip, sip, glug, glug, and I'm like, look at that over there. It's just staring at me.
You know what? I thought, with these martinis, this could be kind of like a drunk history.
Somebody already mentioned that.
We could do kind of like a drunk, whatever about the
Fine.
theater.
This is the thing about theaters. It's fun. Mm-hmm. It's fun. If somebody isn't doing theater, well, that's fine, I guess. But don't sit there and act like it's. Oh, I'm never gonna do theater. It's so lame. Well, you're lame. Whatever. It's a fun. It's a fun thing. People
It
in
is.
theater are a family. We talked to a costumer and she talked about how she picked up a drill and this is how she met her family. And this is what we do. And we hang out, we have a good time, and if we're not having fun, then why are we doing this?
And next year, you see yourself playing in one of those plays?
Well, actually, no. But actually, we just kind of convened, or will be convening in the next week, the play selection committee. And so these are a group of people who kind of help us select the plays, kind of go through, read, the plays. A lot of things are new, so maybe people haven't read them yet. There's all sorts of things to consider. Do they fit into a season at the Rep? Are they the kind of shows the Rep might do? Are they something that we can do? I mean, if it's the Titanic and we have to have the Titanic on the 10th Street stage, probably not.
Are they local playwrights, local writers?
Sure, yeah. As a matter of fact, we do Toledo Voices.
That's it.
Right, which, we solicit plays from local writers, and then we do readings of them.
They're just readings.
And man, that's really important. Well, one of them is going to be staged in the upcoming Toledo Voices in the fall. And, but... yeah, that's real important, and that's close to my heart. I like to see the new plays, and particularly Toledo.
I'm so glad Ron does research. I'm over here drinking my martinis and chatting about stuff.
That's all right. But yeah, Toledo playwrights, that's something that's really, new playwrights in general, but if they're from Toledo, that's obviously really important and real close to our heart. So hopefully we are doing that in the fall. We do have the plays. They were the ones that were scheduled for during the pandemic. So we're doing them in the fall, and then we also are soliciting for more plays. So if you're a playwright and are interested, send your script, your manuscript, whatever, to the Toledo Rep.
Did you hear him get his Scrooge voice there for a second?
Oh, you want
for a second? He was like, "So if you're a playwright," I was like, "Oh!" All of a sudden it just appeared. He's like, it's amazing the difference between when you're in character and when you're not. You're like just kind of a very nice, very soft,
yeah,
very I don't know, gentle guy, I would say. But when you're Scrooge, you're a dick.
And I know, and that's why I love getting to do those bad guys. They're so great because they don't realize that they're dicks. They think they're right. And it's great getting to play that.
That's what makes a great villain. The great villain has a reason why he's the way he is. And Scrooge absolutely has a reason why he's a dick.
Definitely, yeah. And
he didn't just happen to be one.
He doesn't think he's one. It's, he thinks he's, behaving appropriately, It's that's the problem. That's why he's a dick. Are we allowed to say that?
This is, I just put a little E on it, and we're good to go. We can say whatever we say.
Right.
This is explicit. We had Cutting Edge in here. Have you ever met Stephanie Denny?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, she doesn't hold back, and I love it.
No, I love her. She's fun, yeah.
That's what this is about, though. Again, we're always trying to just have fun.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to sit there and be concerned about, can I say dick? Yes, you can say dick. Go ahead.
Okay, good.
We might edit that part out, but I don't know.
I doubt it.
I doubt it.
Put a little beep over it.
So why is, if you had to summarize, why, so you said the Rep is great, but why should somebody come see these shows? Because it's kind of like there's a lot of theater in the area.
Yeah.
A lot of great theater. People are doing great things. Why the Rep?
Right.
Why does it keep winning? Why do we need to come?
Right. Well, I just, to start with that, I just like to say, I think they should go see theater, period. And I don't really care where it is. I think that they should go see theater. And whatever it is, whatever the reason is it because it's their child, or because it's their friend, or because they love the play, because they saw it in a movie, they want to see it on stage. I don't care what it is, or who's doing it, or where it is. Go see theater. Because the great thing about all the different theater companies in Toledo is that they all have different visions about what they're doing, and you're going to get something out of each one of them. So by all means, go to the Village, go to Stephanie's Cutting Edge, go to all the different ones, by all means, because that's only good for all of us who are in the business of making theater, because then our audiences become more educated, and we become more educated, because our acting pool becomes bigger, our directing pool becomes bigger. Everybody benefits by all of this. So, and if nobody goes to see somebody, or nobody goes to see a particular theater, some particular theaters, then we all lose. So, now why should they come to the Rep? Because the Rep does good stuff. I mean, that's the best way I can say it. I mean, the Rep, strongly believes in its mission and what it's doing, and providing, opportunities for artists of, actors, backstage artists, designers, lighting designers, sound designers, scenic designers, costume designers, everything. They provide, the Rep, it's important to the Rep to provide all those different things. And the Rep has a little bit broader, a little bit bigger of a platform to do that with. We've got a lot of costumes already. We've got a lot of scenery. We've got a lot of the things that go into making live theater. So, so there are some things that are kind of taken care of when artists come to work at the Rep. And so that's a good thing. It's a good thing for audiences to see too. So
you have a building, which is something that a lot of theaters in the area don't have.
Do.
And you also do stuff with other groups that you allow them to rent your facility to put on their shows.
We have a building, it's true. And yes, we do work with other organizations. And for instance, the Village.
So you're not really a bully. You kind of are nice.
Well, during the pandemic, we had other organizations that used the stage. The Village Players, which is a very prominent community theater group in the area, they were not. They stayed dark during the pandemic, which was, that's great. But they were able to those who wanted to, were able to do a show that was a Village Theater production on the Toledo Rep stage. A little bit of history for you there, too. The Village Players was actually started about 50 years ago by a group of people at the Rep, because the Rep at that point had gone from being just community, being all volunteer, to actually hiring a director, to begin hiring people. And the people who were involved at the Village felt very strongly that it should remain volunteer, which obviously, amateur, love of the work, that's a great, noble cause. But they separated from the Rep, and they became the Village Players. Well, at the time, it was actually a big deal, and some of them went right down family lines. There were people who just wouldn't talk. There were actors at the Village who wouldn't cross the threshold.
Hatfield and McCoy version.
Yes,
of the
I'm
Rep.
not kidding you. So I came in 1986, and I was like, whoa, because there were actors who would not cross the Rep threshold, and Rep actors who would not go to the Village. So if you can imagine that. So for all of this time now, the two organizations...
we got to have the Village in next week.
Yeah.
So for all of this time, the two organizations, though, worked together, kind of behind the scenes. We shared costumes, sets, designers. We shared all kinds of things. Well, this year, the Village performed on the Rep stage because they didn't have this, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Because you look back 50 years ago and it's like, no, that would have never happened. But really, the two organizations, continued to thrive because they actually shared a lot in common.
Yeah, they still want to produce great stuff.
Exactly.
After shows, they go and they TP each other.
Well, there is that.
I love it. I love it.
Right. And the Scott tissue, you can get a lot more per roll. Oh, did I say that?
Yeah. And I can't. I know that the Toledo School for the Arts, for example, I know that they use your stage from time to time as well.
Yes.
So
and
you're a
Act
big
is
supporter
collaborative of Toledo. We've collaborated on things together. Right. The Human Experience, which does modern dance and whatnot, they use the space a lot. We have a lot of different organizations that either collaborate or use the space or both. So
you're not terrible. You're actually a pretty good organization.
I think so. I think we're actually kind of nice.
Yeah. The city of Toledo wants to keep you open. Yeah. These other places love using your stage and working with you, and you were like, okay, sure.
Yeah, it's fine.
I guess you could come in.
Yeah. We're all about, love. I think we're nice people. I don't know. What do you mean?
So you're gonna do Rent then? It sounds like next. No, Hair. I'm sorry. We're gonna do Hair.
Hair. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, I'm still a rookie. I'm still trying to figure out which shows are the hippie shows and which ones aren't. So peace, love, and
You know, it's funny because I was in junior high maybe when that was first out, and I had the original Broadway cast album, and I keep thinking of my parents. Like, oh my God, what is this kid listening to?
what great parents,
But
right?
yeah, you know, I mean, they were easy about it, so it was nice.
I'm exhausted.
I'm done.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
done?
done. That was it. No, we just wanted to
I
talk
haven't even
about
finished
the
my
rep.
drink yet.
No,
so-
finish it up. Absolutely. We just wanted to talk about the rep and why they were so great. And I was so happy when you said you would come in. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I got the star of the rep.
Oh,
coming.
come on.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
what am I going to have?
geez.
Lydia Schaefer in? Come on.
Oh, yeah, I love Lydia.
Someday.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
Lydia, whatever. Next, I got to have Mark Owen. Come on.
I love Mark. Oh,
I
my
don't
God.
want these
Those are
losers in.
Those two are like two of my favorite.
Well, if I'm
Oh,
going to
my
have
God.
somebody in, I'm going to go right down the list of people. I'm gonna be like, well, it's Mark Owen's way down to bottom, and then followed by Lydia, I guess, and then
it would be such fun. Like, let us all three come.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
know,
We
I mean-
gotta have a bunch of microphones put together, and you guys would
have
cackle.
Such fun together. It's great. Yeah, they're wonderful. They really are.
I tease them, of course. I love them.
Yeah,
They're great
yes,
people, of
everybody
course,
loves
of
them. I
course.
know
I
you're
mean,
teasing.
Heath is a wonderful guy. I mean, he's just there's just so many decent people in theater, and that's what makes theater so great. Is people that amazingly they come from these different backgrounds and different age ranges, but they are still so accepting and so welcoming of so many different kinds of people that come in. It's like, hey, come on in. You're part of the family now. We don't
Good.
care.
That's the way it should be. That's the way the rep is. It's like, come on in, be part of the family. Let's do something good. You know, have fun. Do something good at the same time.